And I haven't had, there you go. I'm hoping my connection on Facebook is okay. It's been in and out all day. Hey, I hope you're all having a great day. A little cloud cover coming in the Coachella Valley, kind of a different type of day. We've had, not supposed to rain. I wish it would, but anyway, it's not. I'm a little lethargic in my talking and sound a little sick. That's because I have been sick for the last week and trying to shake this thing so I can get back to my normal life, if there is such thing as normal. So, hey, when I was writing my book and doing some research, I ran across a guy named Mick Hunter. And he wrote a book titled "Abused Boys and Neglected Victims of Sexual Abuse." And actually, Mick had quite the insight. And that book was written in 1989. So I'm going to talk a little bit about his findings. I have a large excerpt in my book from him that he wrote from my book. He hasn't done a whole lot of writing since then. His publishers just haven't given him a reason to write. So, but I quoted him earlier from page, no, what page was it? I'm sorry. Page 185. Page 185. And it says, in 1989, while looking for a publisher for his manuscript entitled "The Neglected Victims of Sexual Abuse," Mick Hunter, oh, I'm sorry, I got to back up. I got the wrong paragraph. I'll get there in a minute. The paragraph I want to read is this. Is when they read books or hear programs about sexual abuse, they probably will not hear about male victims. They will call what happened to them many things, but rarely will they think of themselves as victims. Rarely will they think of themselves as victims. That comes from page 185 in Healing the Man Within, an excerpt from Mick Hunter in chapter 9 entitled Secrets of Silence. And that whole excerpt starts on page 184. Now I get to what I was talking about. 1989, while he's looking for a publisher for his book entitled "Neglected Victims of Sexual Abuse," he was told that it'd be unreasonable to expect anyone to publish a book on the sexual abuse of boys. And why? Why would they say that? Well, for some of the same reasons we talk about today. Good afternoon, Professor Emerson and Kevin. One, because boys are almost never victims of sexual abuse. And this is what his publisher told him. And I can tell you right now that there is a lot of people today that will see the same thing, that because boys are almost never victims of sexual abuse. Another reason was because if it does occur, it doesn't harm them significantly. Now remember, this is being said in 1989. What was that? Pardon my math, 20-some years ago. And then this is the kicker. Those few that are harmed can't be helped. So otherwise, just throw us to the wind. We can't be helped anyways. So that was the mentality back in 1989 when it would come to men and being sexually abused. And unfortunately, while we've come a long ways, and it is being talked about a whole lot more, it is still kind of a stigma that nobody wants to talk about. That's kind of paradoxical, I know, but it hasn't changed a whole lot. And all those beliefs, they're still in today's society. Boys will just get over it. We hear it all the time. Oh, they'll just get over it. As a matter of fact, that the boys will just get over it is a direct quote from one of the head of psychology departments of a prominent California college right here in Southern California. He said, why bring it up? They just get over it and move on. Nothing could be farther from the truth. So you see, it's still being looked at as it's no big deal when boys are sexually abused. They just get over it, and the ones that are harmed, we'll just throw them to the wind, you know. He was finally able to get his book published only after changing the name of the book to "Abused Boys, the Neglected Victims of Sexual." Why this title? Because sexually abused boys were so neglected as a topic at the time without the new title. nobody would have any idea what the book was about. Nobody would have any idea what the book was about. Well, back then, no. Today, we're bringing it up more and more so people are more aware of the sexual abuse that happens to boys in today's times. But we still got a long, long ways to go. I'm going to read a piece out of the book that I found interesting. It's on page 184 and 185 of my book. It says in the preface I wrote, "This year, as in every year, tens of thousands of boys will be sexually abused in the United States." Now remember, this is 1989 this is being written. "They will be damaged physically, emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. Every aspect of their lives will be affected. When they become adults, they will be plagued with sexual dysfunctions, troubled relationships, a poor sense of self-worth, and intimacy difficulties. Many will become drug addicts. Some will destroy themselves. Most of them will suffer from the effects of sexual abuse without ever realizing that they were victimized. When they read books or hear programs about sexual abuse, they will probably not hear about male victims." And that's why we do what we do, because you don't hear a lot about male victims. It's mostly about the female victims. You know, they have a place to go. People will listen to them. They will call what happened to them many things, but rarely will they think of themselves as victims. To add to this tragedy, most who seek professional help from mental health centers, treatment programs, and therapists will often be misdiagnosed. The symptoms of sexual abuse may be treated, but not the underlying cause. The stereotypes and myths that surround sexual abuse in males will prevent them from getting adequate help. Victimized as boys, they will be neglected as men. Boy, does that stand true today. I mean, that was written in 1989, and Mick saw something I don't think a whole lot of people saw. But when you look at the sexual abuse victims of the day, and the man rules for the societal rules for men, you know, don't show your weakness, don't show your emotions, don't show your feelings, you know, be strong, don't be weak. He's talking about all that right here. And when you talk about the drug addicts and the sexual relationship problems, all those have occurred. One statistic is 80% of boys that have been sexually abused have chemical dependency issues. I did one study last year where there was only 100 people, a sample of 100 men, but 100% of them were chemically dependent. And 59, it was 100 men, all 100 were chemically dependent, and 59% have been sexually abused. So that means that 100% have chemical dependency issues. Now, I want to stay here, something that's kind of important. That there's one statistic that only 25% of us that have been sexually abused go on to have problems in life. About 75% of the people that get sexually abused, they go on to have a normal life, and that's likely because they got help when they were kids. They got the right kind of help, they were listened to. And so they were able to get through their issues right away. People believed them, people validated them, they were given tools to live life on a normal basis. The other 25%, it devastates us pretty good. It says every aspect of our lives will be affected. And as a survivor myself, and as talked to hundreds of them, nothing could be farther from, I mean that's the absolute truth. That's one thing I was going to say. That's the absolute truth, because it affects everything about us to the core of our being. But the good news is that, you know, we are talking about it more and more. Hey, Paul, good to see you. We are talking about this subject more and more. That's what our group does. We talk everywhere. And so the awareness is being brought about. We can't change whatever happened to us in the past. It's done and over with. But our goal is to educate as much of America, as much as the healing field as we can, that, hey, this is something that needs special attention. That we need to listen to men when they say they've been sexually abused, and not just push it underneath the table and say, oh, you'll get over it, or you're never going to be able to get over it. We can get over it with the right kind of help, and a lot of times it's just being validated and believing us and walking us through the process, the healing process. So as far as takeaways from today, yes, boys are sexually abused at the rate of 1 in 4. 1 in 4 before the age of 18. We believe that number is more like 1 in 2. 1 in 2. And yes, yes, men can be sexually abused by women as well. Men can be sexually abused by women as well. Being sexually abused causes significant harm to men. And I just went over those percentages. The 75% can get help, be okay. And 25% that don't get help suffer incomprehensible harm. You know, and I remember in one of my meditations way back when I first got sober, I'm trying to sort all this out, and it said that the scarring was deeper than you could ever imagine, Randy. Your scarring is deeper than you could ever imagine. And now I know what that one meant. And also that the damage is incomprehensible. It's incomprehensible. To me, it's not, but to the general public, it is, and I understand that. Okay. And the victims that are harmed, we can get help. We're not. You can't. You know, some of them might be beyond help. I don't know. You know. But I want to believe that we can all get help. Most of you guys never knew me 10 years ago. You know me now, you know me today, you know me for the last, anywhere from last year to 10 years ago, you know. And I'm not the man, I wasn't the man then that you see standing behind you, in front of you today. I'm not the man today than I was back then. I was full of anger, hate, rage. I couldn't talk about this, you know, and I still do get angry once in a while, and that's okay, because I have a right to get angry. We all have a right to get angry, but I didn't have the love, and I had contempt in my heart. I didn't have love. I didn't have care. I mean, I was angry at the world. Okay, you would have looked at me 10 years ago and said, "Man, that guy's lost. There's no hope for Randy." But believe me, here I am today, and a lot of people know me that are watching this, and a lot of people that aren't watching it know me, and they know me very intimately. And I say that intimately, that's a personal intimacy, not a sexual intimacy. I just got to stress that. And they know the kind of person I am, the compassion that I have for humanity and for men and for people and for couples. So we can be helped. We can be helped. We gotta quit sweeping this underneath the rug. We gotta quit. Mick talked about this in 1989, and he called it out perfect. He said everything that's going to happen to men, and it has happened. I don't think he realizes actually what he did, or maybe he does. He's pretty intelligent. You know, the way I am today is a result of a lot of hard work. A lot of hard work with my therapist. In the program, it says we have to become rigorously honest. Rigorously honest. But where does that rigorous honesty start with? Not with my wife, not with you, not with my pastor, because the rigorous honesty starts with me. If I can't be honest with myself, then I can't be honest with you. I can't be honest with my wife. I can't be honest with my pastor. I can't be honest with my kids. I have to be honest about myself, and that can be very difficult when we start this journey. And that's why it's important to find somebody that can walk you through it, that can be there when you're looking at yourself and going, "Oh my God, like, what did I do?" Okay, so a lot of hard work, a lot with a therapist, and surrounding myself with men, especially men that I despise, but men, healthy men, and women also, that loved me for who I was. They saw through the pain. They saw in me what I didn't see in myself. And that's one of the keys right there, is to find people that believe in you. They're not going to let you get away with your garbage. They're not going to let you play victim no more. They're going to walk you out of your victimhood. They're going to walk you into a new life. They say, "Yeah, okay, Randy, we're sorry that happened, but let's start turning your victim into a victor. And then start taking your pain and start helping other people with it." A therapist told me this early on: "Randy, your greatest sorrow will become your greatest joy, and your greatest joy will become your greatest sorrow." My greatest sorrow was my childhood. And that's sort of my greatest joy, helping men and women that need help today. But that joy, because I see the pain in other people, is also my greatest sorrow. And there's times I walk away from talking with men, women, and kids. I'm sobbing. I'm looking up at God. Going, why me, God? So my greatest joy, my greatest sorrow has become my greatest joy, but yet my greatest joy is also my greatest sorrow. So for more on this healing, on my healing journey in this subject, you can get my book at Amazon.com. Get my book at Amazon.com. I'm happy to say that we're getting real close. I think I got one. I'll find out right after Thanksgiving, but my book should be in Barnes & Noble, at least locally, right after Thanksgiving. And then then the next step is to get it in the national stores. I just got to do a little more paperwork for that. So that's a plus for me, getting it in Barnes & Noble. Hopefully we'll get it out there more. I'm just working on the final details as we speak, actually. I talked to him this morning. Hey, I'm going to put them out there. Another great resource for you guys. And remember, even if you weren't sexually abused, these books are all excellent for you. My book is excellent for family members, even if they weren't sexually abused. I've had people read it, they go, my God, Randy, I wasn't abused, but I go through all this myself. But Mick Hunter's book, Abused Boys, The Neglected Victims of Sexual Abuse, it's also available on Amazon as an excellent resource as well. He's an excellent author. He still does work in the field. And then, if you could, please visit my websites, changeyourlifestorynow.com. I'm really, I'm praying. I want to get that life coaching off the ground. I need clients. If you're stuck anywhere in life, I mean, if you're stuck in your life and you can't figure out how to move forward, I can help you move forward. Whether it's finances, business, relationships, sexual abuse, physical abuse, addiction, it doesn't matter. God's given me a wealth of knowledge in my 60 years here on this life for a reason. So visit my website, changeyourlifestorynow.com. And like I said, I will be having Kathy and I are going to do a couples workshop, a communication workshop. Probably in January sometime. We'll hash out that date and I'll get that posted on the website as soon as I can. And then also, last but not least, please visit courageoushealers.org, my other website for my foundation for sexually abused men. And then again, the Ride Across America, I'm trying to finalize all that. Hopefully by the end of the month, before Christmas, I'll have that all finalized. I'm going to need a lot of support on that. So, if you feel adventurous and you want to volunteer for something, yeah, I'm looking for volunteers. We'll sit down and talk, all right? So, thanks for joining me today. I really, really appreciate it. Remember, if nobody tells you they love you today, God does and Randy does. Have a super blessed rest of the week. Love you all.